When I was a young boy, I lived in this very house, the place that held my childhood memories dear, even the ones that weren't much so. Many years later, when I came to visit, I saw another family living in that house, making their own memories, full of laughter and cheer. Envy grew within me, for why should they be happy with glee when I did not? My family was nothing out of the ordinary, not when people were around. Our neighbors often complimented my sister and I, asking how they raised us to be so well behaved. Though the world viewed us well outside of our house, we weren't truly as perfect as it had seemed. My sister was awfully quiet, too shy to even utter a word, while I was looked down upon as being different from other boys my age. On the other hand, our parents had their own secrets kept underneath their normalcy. Mother often talked to me in riddles that I couldn't quite understand. One of them, however, stuck with me the most. She showed me one of such complexity that seemed to place me in a trance of satisfaction. On the paper, she demonstrated the idea that what we called infinity could be drawn over and over again in simple geometric shapes. My father would punish me and take me to the basement when I did not follow his rules. Sometimes I would sit there for hours and hours. The door would close and the lights would go out, leaving me alone on the dark, cold stairs. I would hear voices yelling upstairs, cutlery crashing, and furniture moving about that seemed to make the whole house shake. When these sounds came, I'd stay still with trembling hands, engraving into the walls the continuous shapes my mother had taught me. At first, I was afraid of being alone in the dark, hearing nothing but the screams from upstairs, and knowing that I had no power to do anything in order to stop the fights. Though it was only the first few times that I felt unsettled by the scene cast before me every time I was let back out of the basement. The house would always be in a state of disarray, while my mother sat on the couch with a smile despite her disheveled appearance. Again and again, I would be sent back to the basement, even for the most trivial things I had done. That was when I began to grow numb to the reality that I was living in. Fear no longer thrived within me, for I felt a sense of comfort sitting on those stairs, despite the darkness that led to the bottom of the basement stairs. I was not afraid. It was one night in the middle of June when things began to change. That was the first time my father had forgotten me in the basement. I waited for hours, expecting the door to open and to see my father standing there like usual. However, when the door creaked open, I only saw the face of my distraught mother. She took my hand abruptly, dragging me into the living room. There, I saw my father lying unconscious on the floor. I turned around to see my sister slowly walking down the stairs, her face showing no emotion to the situation at hand. My mother grabbed a knife from the kitchen, her hands caught in a trembling state as she crept towards father. As she stood right beside his still body, her arms swung in the air. I watched in terror, uncertain whether this was truly the right choice. Yet, my anger towards my father was so great that I did not move to stop her. She hesitated for a moment. Then her hands went straight for his heart in a fast swing. I felt satisfaction, seeing her movements drawing in the same geometric shapes that seemed to go on into infinity. Then, all was silent in the house. Mother's gown was stained with red as we all stood for a few seconds. The deed was done, and the next step was to figure out a way to get rid of the evidence. That is when we decided we would pick up father's body and throw it down into the depths of the basement. It was finally over, at least for now. The street lamps flickered as I walked through the familiar street. An eerie fog filled the vast entirety of the neighborhood, the silence echoing with every step. As I reached the place I once called home, I looked into the lit-up windows to see the new family living there. This time, I would surely serve as a warning to them, a reminder that this is where it all happened.
Go up there.
Okay, tell me when to go.
Open the door.
What? I thought you was a...